I was just listening to a creativity podcast and my brain suddenly jumped back 5 years ago and then 10 years ago. And I realized that I haven't really shared or talked about in a while my journey to becoming a fiber artist today. And it even blows my mind when I think about the transition that has happened, because 5 years ago is when I first learned to hand knit. And the first thing I learned how to hand knit was a blanket from a YouTube tutorial, like so many people do. And I just really loved it. But even going back before that, my mom taught me how to loom knit on these round looms. I had tried to do traditional knitting before and just didn't really pick it up. I could do it, but just didn't love it. It felt cumbersome to me. And so the loom knitting was very rhythmic, and I picked that up immediately and started making hats. So before that, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had just recently had a baby, and our daughter was 3.5. And I was at home, and I actually decided to go back to school. I thought maybe I wanted to become a PA and go into the medical world. And so I took a semester of classes and realized I didn't want to do that. And so I was kind of just in this place of figuring out, who was I? What did I want to do? Before that, before becoming a mom, I was working in the nonprofit world, and that's where I was at mostly after college. I just really had a heart and passion for helping people, but I felt like my space was kind of like behind the scenes in marketing and fundraising and doing development work. And so I did that for several years. I actually went to college for business. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but that just kind of felt like the space that I would have the most flexibility and freedom to figure out what I wanted. I did minor in art, but I actually didn't really take art classes in high school. I did take photography in both high school and college, but other than that, I didn't, which is kind of odd to me now looking back, because as a kid, I was very creative. I loved to draw all the time. I was the kid who made handmade cards for my friends for their birthdays, and I remember one specifically drawing a Buzz Lightyear for one of my best friends. I made my mom a handmade Christmas tree skirt out of like that felt kind of fabric, where I like cut things out and I sewed them on and used fabric glue and made that for her. And so I also loved writing and just writing stories. I loved Berenstain Bears and reading those books, and also the Babysitter's Club. And yeah, so it's interesting to me how I shifted away from that the older I got. And then once I became an adult and then a mom, and then especially staying at home, where all of those things that you've kind of built around your life are stripped away, and you're like, what is going on? Who am I now? These little people are relying on me, and like, who am I even anymore? And so that really was the time and space where I rediscovered my creativity. And even though it was really hard at the time, I'm so thankful for that, because it just gave me space to see what was I actually interested in doing with my time. What did I actually want to pursue? And I didn't start hand knitting thinking that I was gonna have a business. When I first did loom knitting, I made hats and I sold those, and that was super organic. I was like, well, I guess I'll sell these because people are asking for them. And then learned how to hand knit and was like, oh, I guess I can sell these blankets because people are interested. And then it just has evolved from there, and each year has looked a little bit different. So anyway, that is kind of, long story short, I mean, under 5 minutes of the last decade of my life. But I share that just because I know I'm not the only one. I mean, I think it's just the nature of life that things are always changing and evolving. We're always discovering new things about ourselves, or old things about ourselves that maybe we have forgotten. And so this is just even a reminder for me of how passionate I am about sharing my creativity, because I know that you guys have that within yourselves as well. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk.